Alright, so the hack squat leg press combination machine is probably one of the most desirable pieces of home gym equipment, but it's also one of the most consistently imperfect machines out there. Most of the time, the range of motion on either the leg press or the hack squat ends up being compromised. So it was a pleasant surprise to discover that Mikolo's DD09 actually provides a full range of motion on both movements and is actually affordable. It's pretty wild, I must say, but as with anything, it isn't perfect. There are a few compromises you're going to be making here. I want you to be aware of them. Let's get to the review. What's up guys, Chris here with Strength and Steel Reviews. You made it past the hook, you're officially in the introduction. Welcome. So, I personally rely heavily upon machine-based movements for my lower body. My quads are notoriously stubborn, and I've often found that guided machine movements force my quads into compromising positions that finally allow them to grow. Without machine-based movements, my butt will just insist on getting heavily involved, does all the work, and my quads are left all lonely and sad. It is a dramatic and disappointing situation, and thankfully, we have companies like Mikolo that are willing to help me seek some kind of solution. When they reached out to me to review this machine, I was genuinely excited, and trust me, that is not always the case. Mikolo sent this to me for free for an objective, unguided review, and they have been totally awesome to work with, so I'm especially happy to do this review. So yeah, if by the end of this review, you decide you want to purchase the DD09, support the channel, check out the link below in the description. Okay, so before we speak directly about the functionality of this machine, I must remark upon the assembly, because if you know me, you know I hate assembling equipment, especially when the instructions are vague and confusing. These instructions were not that. They were terrific. They were crystal clear. All the hardware is perfectly organized, well labeled, easy to discern. I did this myself. It took a few hours and very little frustration. So if you dread this process like I do, rejoice. Mikolo crushed this. And what's also nice is this piece is actually compact. The weight horns are located beneath the seat, so they don't stick out at all, and they don't add any width. It's 34 inches wide, about 84 inches long, and for a full-size leg press hack squat machine, I am genuinely impressed. And it's built well. Mikolo says it can handle 900 pounds of weight, including you, the user. Now, I have not thrown 900 pounds of weight on there. I don't think most of you, if you're doing a controlled rep with a complete range of motion, will really need that weight. But for the few of you monsters that will, well, I would be careful. Often companies that state these astounding weight capacities, it sounds nice, but I would urge caution when loading this thing heavy. This is not Prime or Atlantis or some other kind of commercial grade machine. This is a budget friendly piece, tread with care. All right, so the number one question regarding one of these machines is, will it enable me to perform a complete range of motion with the hack squat and the leg press? As I said earlier, usually you need to sacrifice some range in one movement to compensate for the other. For example, the RitFit Gazelle Pro that I reviewed had great range of motion with the leg press, but limited range with the hack squat. In order for me to experience a deep squat, I needed to place yoga blocks on my shoulders. Not the end of the world, but if I'm being honest, it most certainly grew to be an annoyance. I never got used to searching for the yoga blocks, and they were never as comfortable resting in my shoulders as I wished them to be. And with the DD09, I can get below parallel on the hack squat, which frankly is kind of amazing since this is my favorite machine-based movement of all time. Now, I am 5'9", and often it's us shorter users that will struggle with achieving a complete range of motion. Taller users with their longer femurs don't usually have as much of an issue, but even me at 5'9", look how far I'm going down. You can even remove the seat pad from the leg press to allow for an even deeper squat, and it pulls right out, super easy. So yeah, this functionality is terrific, the range complete. And the hack squat foot plate is actually really big. There are 4 different angles that you can set using their simple ladder adjustment system. Generally, the steeper the angle, the more emphasis you're gonna be placing on your quads, so I leave it high. Now, I will admit that the shoulder pads are a little firm. I think they could be a bit more comfortable, but I do think this is just another one of those small compromises you have to be prepared to make with a budget piece. Still, it is worth noting that they are indeed firm, and not luxe, as my wife would say. They could be better. But overall, the hack squat feels really nice. Initially, when I started using this machine, I felt some friction during use, but after applying some lubricant and using it more often, it started moving much more smoothly. So keep that in mind. This thing does need to be broken in. Once the guide rods start working and flexing under a little weight, then it starts to feel really nice. Before we discuss the leg press, and to me this is the function that could use a little work here, let me show you how to initially set up for the hack squat and how to transfer from the hack squat to the leg press. Okay, so I think I finally picked the right angle with my camera. I'll know for sure once I review this, and if I've decided to air it, then we chose well. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the back pad from the foot plate, and it literally just comes right out. There's nothing holding it down. We'll discuss that in a moment. Then you take the back pad, there's an insertion point between the shoulder pads, you just set it in like that, and there's a little screw here, which I'm sure I'll provide some B-roll of, that you tighten with your fingers. Keeps the back pad firmly set. The bottom will come up a little bit, but it's nothing to worry about. It hasn't been anything to worry about with me. You're pressing enough of your own weight against the pad. That, combined with the reassurance and security of the screw, is enough to keep everything where it should be. Now, once you've got that set, you can adjust the foot plate, like I said, with this ladder style adjustment system that all these adjustable benches seems to have right now. Very intuitive, very easy to use. If you want to go from the hack squat to the leg press, which you inevitably will, because that's why you're buying the machine, you unscrew the screw with your fingers. Then you set this pad right against the foot plate, it inserts, there's nothing holding it down there. Now you're gonna raise this plate, the foot plate for the leg press, and there's a pin, a knurled pin, which is a really nice touch. More B-roll for you, very nice. Now you're gonna set the foot plate at either 80, 90, or 100 degrees. It's up to you. A lot of that will have to do with ankle mobility. Here's 100, here's 90, and here's 80. Small thing, I don't really know where to put the pin when I'm not using it. There's a hitch pin they use to secure the other side right here, but I'm a wild man, a daredevil, so I don't use it, but I don't know where to put it. I'm not sure. I just kind of leave it in this hole. It's nice, it's magnetic, so it does stick there. Maybe that's the intention. It's not the end of the world. Find somewhere for it. That's probably as good a place as any. Okay, now the official review for the leg press. So my number one complaint here is that this foot plate for the leg press is too small. I think it's like 18 by 24 inches. I could be completely wrong. If I am, I'm correcting it on screen right now. But whatever it is, it's a little small. I really don't have as much freedom to move my feet in the way that I ordinarily would want to. I like a big foot plate when I'm doing a leg press. Though I will admit there is something very positive here. As I've said earlier, there is a complete range of motion with the leg press. I'm gonna go as low as I can. And also what's nice, I should have mentioned this earlier, is these safety rods, you don't have to pull them aside yourself. As soon as you lift the weight, they fall aside and you could just begin your lift. So you don't really have to think about it when you're getting ready to do your hack squat or your leg press set. You just push it up, boom. Now you can just set yourself to the task. You don't need to be worried about moving it aside. It's just one less step, and whenever there's one less step in an exercise like this, I'm grateful. I want to focus just on the exercise. So here, complete range of motion. That's about as far as I would go before my heels lift off, but if I wanted to, go down there. Now they do provide these stoppers here, so depending on where you want them, throw them in there. That's the highest setting, and you're safe and sound. But like I told you, I'm an absolute daredevil, so I don't use these either. But nonetheless, there's good range with the leg press, really good range. Do I wish the foot plate was larger? Yes, absolutely I do. But again, another small compromise that you probably need to be prepared to make with a budget piece. Something else that should be noted is often with these pieces there's a way to do a calf raise. I've kind of searched for my own way to do it. There's nothing in this design that is prepared to serve as a legitimate functionality for a calf raise. But if you want to be a daredevil like me, you can press your feet against this bar here. You'll have to move these plates to the side, but you can use this flat bar to do calf raises. You're just gonna need to make room with your heels with those plates. So the further they are off the weight horn, the more range of motion that you get with your calf raise. It's not what it was designed to do, but us home gym owners are always prepared to adapt. So there's me adapting. And a third functionality that I should mention is the reverse squat. In this case, just like with many of the others, like that RitFit Gazelle Pro, I don't think it feels good. I don't think it feels natural. I don't like the position of the handles. I would say if you're looking at this machine, really only consider the hack squat and the leg press. Those two primary movements are terrific, but I would disregard this reverse squat. It's kind of a waste of time. And I should also mention that this comes with band pegs that fasten to the bottom and the top. I instinctually encounter band pegs and I just get rid of them. Even when I'm doing a review, I kind of feel foolish once they're gone because then I can't provide them in the review. That doesn't work. But this does have them, so if you like resistance bands and you like using band pegs, it has that function too, so that is a nice addition. Okay, I think I've covered just about everything except the price. This is $799. Now, there are a lot of leg press hack squat combination machines that are more expensive than this. They may be better made with stronger steel. They might be prettier, no doubt, maybe more comfortable, but most of them are going to have some kind of flagrant limitation on either the hack squat or the leg press. So I would keep that in mind when you're shopping. This is a budget-friendly piece. But for me, the fact that it allows for a complete range of motion on the two most important movements, the two loudest movements that the company proclaims in its advertisement of the product, the leg press and the hack squat, being able to do those fully is terrific. Now, yes, I don't like that the foot plate is a bit small for the leg press. I think that's notable. You know, you have to decide which movement is more important to you and what kind of concessions you're willing to make, what kind of compromises, because that is the way with the home gym space in general, but especially with budget-friendly pieces. For me, the hack squat is most important, but I am so grateful to have access to the leg press too, and that it allows for a complete range of motion for bilateral and unilateral work. That's great news. But right now in the budget-friendly space, and I'd imagine that's why you're here, this is worth considering. I really mean it. Mikolo is putting out some really cool stuff right now. I think they're a great company. I endorse this product. You might find cheaper leg press hack squats like scouring across Amazon, but I would really read those reviews. I would watch any reviews if they're available because, again, there are going to be flagrant limitations on those machines because even then, that occurs with more premium pieces right now. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, that's it for the review. If you know of any hack squat, leg press combination machines that I have not mentioned that allow for a complete range of motion, please let me know in the comments, teach me. And beyond that, subscribe for more reviews like this. You guys take care, you stay strong, and you stay steely. Adios.